Once upon a time in a wealthy African city, there lived a woman named Madame Nana.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
She was the wife of a powerful businessman, and together they had built an empire. But despite all their riches, the only treasure that truly mattered to her was her son, Kwame. Madame Nana and her husband had only one child, and they had raised him with love and discipline. He had traveled abroad for his education, becoming a refined young man, and now he was finally coming home to take over his late father's company. But there was one thing troubling Madame Nana's heart: who would her son marry? She had seen the kind of woman that flocked around rich men, beautiful on the outside but empty inside. She didn't want her son to fall into the trap of a woman who only loved his money. So she made a plan. Madame Nana would disguise herself as a cleaner in their company. No one would know she was the owner's wife. She wanted to see for herself which woman had a good heart. Early one morning, Madame Nana arrived at the company dressed in a faded wrapper and an old blouse. A simple headscarf covered her hair, and she wore plain rubber slippers. Carrying a mop and a bucket, she stepped into the office. The room fell silent for a moment, then was broken by laughter. "Who let this old woman in here?" one of the women, Linda, sneered, wrinkling her nose. "Maybe she got lost on her way to the village," another named Anita added, making the others chuckle. Madame Nana stayed quiet, continuing to mop the floor. She was used to respect, but now she was just a poor cleaner in their eyes. However, she noticed one woman who wasn't laughing: Wendy, a young junior employee sitting quietly at her desk, focused on her work. Wendy didn't look at her with pity, but with simple, human kindness. Madame Nana watched her closely. She had found someone interesting to observe. The next day, the office buzzed with chatter. The air was thick with expensive perfumes as high heels clicked on the polished floor. Dressed in her usual faded clothes, Madame Nana quietly wiped the floor near the hallway. Her back ached and her arms felt heavy, but she continued, determined to endure. Just as she bent to pick up the mop, a sharp voice rang out. "Old woman, you missed a spot." Madame Nana looked up to see Anita, with Linda by her side, their arms crossed and faces filled with amusement. "Didn't you hear her?" Linda sneered. "Or are you deaf too?" Madame Nana swallowed hard and turned back to her work, but Anita wasn't done. "Look at how slow she is," Anita laughed. "We'll be here all day. Maybe she needs some help." Before Madame Nana could react, Anita pushed her hard. Her frail body lost its balance and she crashed onto the cold tiled floor. Cruel, high-pitched laughter erupted around her. "She's so slow," one of the ladies sneered. "Maybe she needs a walking stick," another mocked. Madame Nana groaned, struggling to push herself up with trembling hands. No one stepped forward to help her. No one except Wendy. Wendy's small hands gripped Madame Nana's arm, pulling her up with surprising strength. "Are you okay, Mama?" she asked softly. Madame Nana looked into Wendy's kind, worried eyes. As Wendy helped her stand steady, the other woman stifled laughter. "Next time, old woman, watch where you're going," Anita scoffed, then eyed Wendy with irritation. "And you, why are you helping her? Let her clean up her own mess." Wendy ignored her, bent down to pick up the wet rag, and after squeezing it out, handed it back to Madame Nana. "Mama, you should be careful," she whispered. A lump rose in Madame Nana's throat. It had been years since anyone had called her the Mama with such tenderness. Since her husband's death, loneliness had settled in her chest like a heavy stone. The next morning, the office was full of its usual energy. Madame Nana walked in silently and headed toward the break room. She had spent the night preparing a simple but filling traditional meal, groundnut soup with fufu. She placed the bowl on the lunch table and sat down. The rich aroma of peanut paste and spices filled the air. As expected, The moment she took her first bite, Anita and her friends walked in and stared at her with disgust. What's that smell? Linda cringed. Anita folded her arms, her manicured nails glistening. I think it's the cleaner's food. It smells so local, she said, wrinkling her nose. The other ladies laughed. Madame Nene kept eating, pretending not to hear them. When Wendy walked in, she immediately went to Madame Nene's table. Good afternoon, Mama, she greeted warmly. Good afternoon, my daughter, Madame Nene replied, studying her. As Wendy sat down with her simple jollof rice, Anita smirked. You actually want to sit with her? Wendy's smile never wavered. Why not? She glanced at the bowl. Mama, that looks delicious. Did you cook it? Madame Nene's heart warmed. Yes, my dear. Would you like to taste some? Wendy nodded eagerly. The moment she tasted the food, Anita burst into laughter. Look at her, eating food from a cleaner. You really have no shame, Linda scoffed. But Wendy simply chewed, swallowed, and smiled. This is amazing, Mama. It tastes like home. Something in Madame Nene's chest tightened. Later that evening, Madame Nene entered the ladies' washroom with a bucket of soapy water. She took a deep breath and, with deliberate carelessness, spilled the bucket all over the floor. Then she dropped the bucket loudly, gasping, "Oh, my waist." Within seconds, Anita and her group entered. Oh no, the poor old woman fell again, Anita mocked with fake concern. Linda snorted, maybe she should stop working. She's too old for this. Madame Nene groaned, clutching her waist. Please, someone, help me. Anita folded her arms. We are not cleaners. It's not our job to clean up messes. The women burst into laughter. Just then, Wendy walked in and froze at the scene. She didn't hesitate. She rushed forward and knelt beside Madame Nene. Mama, are you okay? Madame Nene groaned, pretending to struggle. My waist, my daughter. I can't move. Wendy looked up at the other woman. Why are you just standing there? Help me. Anita scoffed, help a cleaner. Please. Wendy's face hardened. She turned back to Madame Nene. Don't worry, Mama. I'll take care of you. Then, to everyone's shock, she pulled out her handkerchief and wiped Madame Nene's sweaty face. She then rolled up her sleeves and began cleaning the floor herself. The room fell silent. Wendy, are you crazy? She's not your mother. Linda hissed. Wendy ignored them, cleaned the floor, and then helped Madame Nene to her feet. Mama, let me take you to sit down, she said softly. Madame Nene's heart swelled with emotion. The next morning, Wendy arrived at the office early. Before she could sit down, Madame Nene appeared beside her. Good morning, my daughter, she said gently. Good morning, Mama. How are you today? Wendy replied. Madame Nene studied her sincere warmth and then said, My daughter, I need to ask you for a favor. Of course, Mama. What is it? Wendy's eyes widened. Madame Nene hesitated. You see, I live alone and I cook, but sometimes, eating alone is not good for the soul. I was wondering if you would join me for dinner. Just once. As my guest. Wendy blinked. Mama, you want me to visit your house? Madame Nene nodded slowly. The break room had gone quiet. Anita and Linda were now staring. Anita scoffed, Oh, Wendy, you want to eat a cleaner's food in her poor house. Linda laughed, she probably lives in one small, face me, I face you, somewhere. Wendy turned to them, her voice firm. So what if she's a cleaner? She's still a human being. Then she looked back at Madame Nene. Mama, I would be honored to have dinner with you. Madame Nana's chest tightened with emotion. She smiled. Thank you, my daughter. That evening, Wendy stood in front of Madame Nana's house, surprised. The compound was neat and the house, though modest, was well kept. It wasn't what she had expected. Madame Nana opened the door, smiling warmly. Come in, my daughter. Wendy stepped inside, inhaling the rich aroma of jollof rice, fried plantain, and grilled fish. The house was simple, but it had a feeling of grace and dignity. They ate together, talking about life, family, and dreams. Wendy never once asked about wealth or looked uncomfortable. She simply enjoyed the company of the old woman she knew as Mama Nana. And that was when Madame Nana knew she had chosen well. Soon, Kwame would arrive, and everything would change. The airport was buzzing with life. Amidst the crowd, a tall, well-dressed man in a crisp navy blue suit walked out. Kwame was finally home to take over his father's company. The moment he stepped into the office, everything changed. Women who had been lazy suddenly sat upright, adjusting their clothes and applying makeup. Oh, he's so handsome, Linda whispered. And rich, Anita smirked. I must be the first to greet him. Kwame, however, barely noticed. His eyes fell on an old cleaner mopping the floor. Something felt wrong. Excuse me, Mama, he said softly. Why are you cleaning this floor? Where is the janitorial staff? Before she could respond, Anita interrupted. Oh, sir, don't worry about her. She's just a cleaner. She's used to this. Kwame turned to her, his frown deepening. Used to it? Does that mean she shouldn't be treated with respect? Anita's face fell. Then Wendy's voice cut in. She deserves all the respect in the world. Kwame turned and saw her. Their eyes met, and something in his chest tightened. From that moment, something about Wendy stirred inside him. It was her kindness and quiet strength. Later, Madame Nana, from her janitor's closet, heard the murmurs. Anita and Linda were teasing Wendy. Oh, Wendy, how did you do it? You just opened your mouth once and the boss noticed you, Linda said. Anita smirked, are you sure you don't have jazz? He didn't even look at the rest of us. I didn't do anything, Wendy said. We'll see, Anita flicked her hair. But if you're planning to use your innocent face to climb, you'll have competition. Madame Nana clenched her fists. The real work was just beginning. Kwame sat in his new office, his mind on Wendy. He called her to his office. Downstairs, Wendy's heart pounded. Anita and Linda stared with jealousy as she walked to the grand office. Good afternoon, sir, she said, lowering her gaze. I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable earlier, Kwame said. I just don't like seeing people treated unfairly. Thank you, sir. That was kind, Wendy replied. He asked about her work and then about the cleaner. Wendy's eyes brightened. Mama Nana? Yes, she's a wonderful person. Kwame's heart warmed. He asked her to tell him about her, and as Wendy spoke of kindness and respect, he knew she was no ordinary woman. Without knowing it, Wendy had taken her first step into his world. The office buzzed with rumors about Wendy's meeting with the boss. I knew it, Anita whispered. She's been pretending. Maybe she's just lucky, Linda added. Anita scoffed, lucky. She's playing a game, and I'll make sure she doesn't win. They confronted Wendy. So, what did the boss say? Linda asked. Nothing serious. He just asked about Mama Nana, Wendy replied. Anita's eyes widened. That cleaner again. You wasted your chance. Wendy sighed. Mama Nana is a good person. I respect her, and I won't stop because you don't. You'll regret it, Anita said, but Wendy was done listening. That evening, Madame Nana was expecting Wendy for dinner again. When Wendy arrived, Madame Nana studied her closely. Before they ate, she held Wendy's hand. "My daughter, be careful," she said softly. "Mama, what do you mean?" Wendy frowned. "You are a good person. But not everyone who smiles at you is your friend," Madame Nana said. Just then, Wendy's phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number read, "Meet me at Grand Royal Hotel tomorrow at 7 p.m. alone. I have something important to tell you." Wendy showed it to Madame Nana, whose face darkened. "Be careful, my daughter. Not everything that glitters is gold," she warned. The next day, Wendy went to the hotel and found Anita waiting. "Oh, Wendy. You came," Anita smirked. "What do you want?" Wendy asked. "Listen carefully. Stay away from Kwame," Anita said. "I don't even know him like that," Wendy replied. Anita laughed coldly. "Don't act stupid. He's noticed you. It's only a matter of time." She slid a brown envelope across the table. It was full of money. "Take this and quit. Leave quietly. Forget about Kwame." Wendy stared at the money. It could solve all her problems. But she pushed it back. "No. You're making a mistake," Anita's face twisted with rage. "No, Anita. You are," Wendy said, and walked away. Unseen, Madame Nana watched from a corner, sipping tea. She was now certain. That night, Wendy felt uneasy. She got another message, "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." She prayed, knowing this was only the beginning. The next morning at work, people were staring and whispering. Anita stood in the middle of the office, holding her phone high. "Everyone, listen to this." She played an edited audio of Wendy's voice, making it sound like she was boasting about Kwame chasing her. The office erupted in laughter. Wendy's face burned with shame. Anita whispered, "I warned you. You should have taken the money." Just then, Kwame entered. "What's going on here?" The room went silent. "Nothing, sir. We were just having fun with Wendy," Anita said sweetly. Kwame's eyes darkened. "Anita, step into my office. Now." After she left, he asked Wendy if she was okay. She nodded, but she was deeply humiliated. Madame Nana had seen it all. That evening, she asked Wendy, "Tell me the truth. Do you have feelings for Kwame?" "No. I barely know him," Wendy said honestly. Madame Nana sighed. "These girls will not stop. They are determined to destroy you. You must be strong." "Mama, why do you care so much about me?" Wendy asked. "Because I see something special in you," Madame Nana replied. But the worst was yet to come. The next day, Anita walked in confidently, but she felt a presence. Mama Nana was staring at her with a knowing, dangerous smile. Anita felt a chill of fear. Kwame, thinking of Wendy's strength, called her to his office again. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yes, sir," she said. "I know what happened yesterday. I won't tolerate bullying here," he said. "Thank you, sir. But I don't want trouble," Wendy replied. "Sometimes, trouble finds you," Kwame said softly, and Wendy realized he was on her side. That night, Anita had a nightmare about Madame Nana and woke up to a message, "You have touched the wrong person." She was terrified. The next morning, police arrested Wendy at her home for theft and fraud. She was crying, insisting she was innocent. At the station, Madame Nana bailed her out. "Mama, I swear I didn't do it," Wendy sobbed. "I know, my daughter. I know," Madame Nana said, holding her. Kwame saw the news and rushed out to find Wendy. Anita, in a hotel room, was sure she had won. But she got a scary phone call. A raspy voice said, "You have made a terrible mistake," and hung up. She was frozen with fear. Madam Nana comforted Wendy at home. "Why is this happening?" Wendy cried. "Sometimes when life tests you, it means something greater is coming," Madam Nana said. Just then, Kwame arrived. He looked at Wendy and asked, "Tell me the truth. Did you steal the money?" "No," she whispered. "I didn't." He saw the pain in her eyes and believed her, but the evidence was strong. "I'll investigate. If you're telling the truth, I'll make sure the real thief pays," he said, and left. Wendy's heart was broken. The next day, Kwame discovered the CCTV footage was missing. He knew then that Wendy was framed. He had made a mistake, and he was determined to fix it. If you want to know what happens next in this story, hold your breath and wait for the next part. Crescent Moon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to African Tales by Ziri for more powerful, emotional, and mysterious African stories. Red Heart. Your support helps keep these stories alive.